Hi everyone, I'm Sanaz. Welcome to my travel channel. In this video, I decided to actually talk to you instead of just using subtitles. I'm really curious, what do you prefer? Do you like hearing my voice or is it better with subtitles only? Please let me know in the comments. Your opinion really matters to me. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give it a like and drop a comment. So right now I'm standing in the middle of the Agora of Smyrna. This place is almost 2000 years old. It was built during the Roman Empire around the 4th century. Back then this was like the heart of the city. It's incredible to think about all the people who walked these same paths nearly 2000 years ago. Being surrounded by such history makes me feel connected to the past. Like I'm walking where people lived their daily lives centuries ago. There's something really peaceful about it, but at the same time, it feels alive with all the stories it holds. I'm really grateful to share this moment with you. You can still see the arches, columns, and even the underground water system they built. It's amazing how advanced they were back then. Here was basically the city's marketplace and social hub during ancient times. Imagine it as the downtown of Izmir, where people would come to buy and sell goods, hang out with friends, and catch up on the latest news. And what's really amazing is how well some parts of it have survived until today. The Agora wasn't just a marketplace, it was also a place where important events happened, like public speeches and political meetings. The architecture is stunning with tall columns and big open spaces that let in lots of light. They even had underground tunnels for water drainage, showing how advanced the Romans were with their engineering. Walking around here, you can almost picture ancient merchants shouting out prices, kids running around, and people chatting about their day. It's a place full of life even after all these centuries. Let's take a moment to enjoy this peaceful place. I'm so glad you are here with me. As I walk, I come across these beautiful sculptures. Each one feels like a piece of a forgotten story. One thing that really surprised me is this peaceful green area right in the middle of the ancient ruins. It's so quiet and calm here. Birds are singing, the grass is growing between the stones. It almost feels like nature is gently reclaiming the history. I love how the old and the natural come together in this space. It makes you want to just sit down, take a breath, and imagine the thousands of stories that once filled this place. As I walk along the path, I notice some beautifully designed ceramics on the ground. The patterns are still so clear even after all these years. It's amazing to think that people once used this in their daily lives. Now they rest here like little treasures, quietly telling the story of time long gone. And just around the corner, there is a small ancient theater. I can almost hear the voices of people who once gathered here, laughing, clapping, maybe even watching a play under the open sky. It's incredible how these old stones still hold the energy of those moments. It makes this place feel so alive. Although I wish I could stay longer and soak in the feeling of this place, it's time for something delicious. I'm going to try some traditional Turkish food here in Izmir. I've heard so much about the local flavors and I can't wait to taste them. Alright, now we are moving into one of my favorite parts of any trip, the food. And here in Turkey, the food scene is just incredible. Look at all these colorful dishes. Every plate is like a little work of art. Turkish cuisine is all about fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and tradition that goes back centuries. Each region has its own special recipe, so wherever you go in Turkey, you get to taste something unique. And now let me tell you about the desserts. Turkish desserts are famous for their richness and sweetness. For me, tasting these dishes is more than just eating, it's like tasting the history and culture of Turkey itself. Honestly, every bite makes me feel more connected to place and to the people. It's one of those moments that reminds me why I love traveling, discovering new flavors, new stories, and sharing them with all of you. Look at this view, it's honestly breathtaking. There is something so calming about this drive. The sunlight reflecting on the water, the breeze, the palm trees, the quiet rhythm of the road. It just makes you feel so peaceful. I could drive here for hours and not get bored for a second. You pass by cozy cafes, local walking, and suddenly you feel like you are part of the city, even if it's your first time here. To be honest, this moment makes me feel really lucky. It's not just about visiting a place, it's about feeling something. And right now, I feel calm, happy, and deeply connected to Izmir. I hope you can feel that through the screen too. Today I am visiting the world's largest olive oil museum. Don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more travel adventures. It's all about olive oil production from 2500 years ago all the way to today. You can really feel how important olives were even centuries ago. Inside, you will find a chronological exhibition of olive crushing technologies from ancient human and animal powered presses to steam driven machines and modern centrifuges. We'll start from the very beginning, from the oldest tools to the newest technology. But first, check out this olive tree root. It's massive and absolutely amazing. Look at how twisted this root is. You can tell this tree has been growing for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years. I just want to reach out and touch it to really feel its age and strength. This is how they did it 2500 years ago, just using stones to crush the olives and gather the oil. It's the oldest method of olive oil production. Later, they started using animals to do the heavy work of crushing olives and making oil. This photo gives you a clear idea of how olive oil production evolved over time. Here you can also see where they used to store the olive oil. vessel dates back about 3,000 years. They used it to carry olive oil, wine, and wheat. Later on, they started adding iron parts to the machines, so crushing olives became easier. Little by little, the technology improved and eventually they started using electric-powered olive oil factories. After that, they started using diesel-powered systems and newer machines based on today's technology. That was the story of olive oil production. You can really see how much effort they put in just to make olive oil. It was such a big part of their lives, even centuries ago. Before I go, I wanted to show you this old cafe, nearly 90 years old. The kitchen items inside are full of history. Looking at them, you can almost feel the past.
Dayan elinden. Eline şeyden uyma. Abi sana ama yapar.
Bugün Dünya Güzeller Günü arkadaşlar. Bunlara özellikle. Oyuncaklar değildir. Bugün Dünya Güzeller Günü arkadaşlar. Çocukları sevindirin.
Sana canım var ya fazla.
Oyuncakları indirin. Çocukları sevindirelim arkadaşlar. Yarın da onlar sizi sevindirsin.
Öyle mi? Galatasaray şeyin, eskileri paylaşıyor. Ha, dükkan ha.
Çok iyi. Yaşlanmaz.
İyi de. Valla bir şey yazmış.
150.
Kaç gün var? Şimdi iyidir Allah'a şükür, durumu iyi. Bir de bir iki tane test kaldı. Bu beynimde diyorlar.
Müdür kabul etmiyor. Müdür kabul etmiyor.
Ahmet dayımın karizması şaka mı arkadaşlar?
Midye çorba. Midyeler şahane. Midye dolma. Midye dolma. Alıyorlar.
Çarşılar mı?
Kahve ya, öyle ya.
Ama giymedim, hiç giymedim. Ha. Asla bunları giysem iyi olur. Değil mi? Yok.
Hoş geldiniz.
Araya seller geldi.
Gümüş kemer mi?
Daha içeri girince sağ tarafta kalıyor.
Evet, hoş geldin.
Sabah valizler, dolarlar, gözcanlar. Keyif oluyorsun burada.
Geliyor yolları. Taşlı elbiseler başında.
Bayağı bir bakayım. Şöyle yapman gereken, yapmaman gereken şey.
Güzel.